This is going to be Lay the Points episode, I believe 13. It's May 26th. Um, sorry, I'm getting ready to go into my real job. But yesterday, Miami laid another egg. I'm surprised. I was shocked. I had Miami +8, but I was shocked. I was shocked by the lack of urgency from them, um, and just the mediocre play I saw from Jimmy Butler. Um, And Bam Adebayo again. I mean, his numbers might have looked good, but he got a lot of them when they were down 20. They were down 20 points, and he got some numbers. Um, Again, I'm shocked. This is the kind of stuff that makes people think sports are rigged. When stuff like this happens, where a team goes up 3-0 and looks dominant and looks somewhat um, as the just overall dominant team. And then you have two games like this where the team just no shows. They didn't no show in the first half in the first loss. They showed up in the first half, but they no showed the second half. Yesterday, the Heat no showed the whole game. No showed the whole game. And it's one of those deals where it feels funny, but again, from what I saw, this is what I'm going to tell you guys what I saw in the game. It appears to me like Boston has made some adjustments to the Miami zone. And what they're doing is they're putting a guy in the middle of the floor around the free throw line on the half court and passing it to him and then passing out to shooters, which is how you beat most zones. Most zones, the key is to get the ball into the paint and then pass out of the paint, or get the ball into the paint and dump it down for lobs because there's holes in every zone. And so it looks like Boston made that adjustment, and so they're winning. Plus, Boston shot ridiculous yesterday from three. That helped a lot. They had multiple guys that normally don't score a lot hitting 5 out of 6 threes and stuff. And you can't, when teams have games like that, you can't do much about it. Miami actually had a game like that in this series as well, where Vincent went crazy from three and it won them the game. So it's not unusual to have one or two games that one guy that just shows up just not supposed to score 25 points does. That happens. And sometimes you shoot and they just go in, and all of them just go in. And that's kind of what happened yesterday. But I think when you watch the game, you realize that most of these shots are wide open. I mean, and that's a defensive thing. That's a lack of effort thing. Not even getting to the contest and just letting simple action beat you from three. So we'll see. It's going back to the Miami land. We'll see if the Heat decide to close this out coming up. I probably won't be too much involved because the Heat got me a little spooked. I really like the Heat, but I almost want to put a bet on Boston to win the series now, just based on kind of what I've seen. Maybe Boston's made some adjustments and the Heat haven't. And that worries me some because I actually really like the Heat going forward. I actually liked them before the series started. And if you guys have been watching my videos, you know that I've been harping on that Miami's a bad defensive matchup for the Celtics. But the Celtics seem to have turned the corner and figured out how to beat that zone. So if Miami doesn't change some things defensively, they're probably going to lose. And that's crazy to say, being up 3-0. It's never happened, guys. It's never happened where a team up 3-0 in the NBA playoffs has lost. So it's surprising that it's a possibility now to me. But anyways, and I think it's a legit possibility. I don't even think I'm like reaching or guessing there. I think it's an actual legit possibility. If they get the game in Miami, if they go down to Miami and they get that game, the Celtics I'm talking about, if they win that game, I feel like you can pencil them in. And the Nuggets don't really want to play the Celtics. The Celtics are the far worse matchup for the Nuggets. They want to play the Heat if you're a Nugget. If you're a Nuggets fan, the players probably don't care. But again, hey, it is what it is. We'll see what happens. But let's get to today's bet real quick before I want to talk about something about the NFL, which, the NFL isn't playing right now. But as they say, the NFL never has an off season. They just have the non-playing season. So that's something that's said in the media. But today, guys, I'm going to go to an obscure type game. Right? This is gonna be a weird one. Right? We are gonna go and we are going to play the Washington Nationals in the first 5 innings. All right. This is how should I put? They're playing Kansas City. Sorry, the Washington Nationals versus Kansas City. It's in Kansas City. Um, the Washington Nationals first 5 innings plus .5 runs. This is 130 juice. I know it's terrible, and this is my auto fade guy Corbin Burns, or not Corbin Burns. Sorry, Patrick Corbin. Patrick Corbin. But Washington is the better team here. They're significantly better, and Patrick Corbin is the better pitcher here. And for whatever reason, I'm drawing a blank on who he's pitching against. But it's just a crazy spot that Washington is the underdog. And but so just for some context, the Kansas City Royals have only won 15 games this year. 15. They're not even to 20 wins yet. They are 0-6 or 0-5 when it comes to the run line. When they're laying a run, they're 0-5. So if you wanted to take the plus 1.5, which is, I think the juice on that one's like minus 170-ish or something, that's also a pretty good play because you're getting that run. But anyways, I'm taking the Washington Nationals first 5 innings plus 0.5 runs. I think that the Washington team will win this game outright, and I actually think they'll win as it goes, like consistently. I think they'll win from the beginning. Patrick Corbin is the better pitcher in this matchup, and I'm sorry I'm drawing a blank as far as who he's pitching against. But like I said, all my paperwork's at home. I'm in my truck, and I drove to work. But it's a weird spot. It's a weird spot, and I think the Nationals are the play here, and I actually think they're a really good play. And if you want to throw some money on their money line and get a little plus money boost, it's a good spot. It's a really good spot. The Nationals are the better team, and Kansas City is absolutely terrible, and they are terrible at home. So it's not just terrible on the road. They are terrible at home, too. So, Patrick Corbin, we're riding with you, and it's very unusual for me to say because normally I auto-fade this guy no matter what. Another thing is betting the yes runs in the first inning in this one might not be a bad play. Both of these guys are going to give up some runs. So, again, I like the Nationals plus 0.5 runs for the first 5 innings. Like I said, I got it at minus 130. I don't know what's now. You might get a better number than me. I don't know. So, moving on. I want to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs a little bit and what Patrick Mahomes said yesterday in a press conference. Basically, they asked him about the contract situations of all these other quarterbacks and how he's making the 7th most money in the league now. So just an idea of what Patrick Mahomes' contract is. He has a 10-year contract, but it didn't start when he signed it. It started this last season. So he's only in the second year of this contract. 10 years, $450 million, right? He's only in the second year of it, and he was the highest paid. Now he's the 7th highest paid. He's about to be the 9th highest paid when Burrow and Herbert sign. But if you're a Chiefs fan, you should be thrilled because he came out and he said, Lyles, that's his name. Thank you, John. Lyles, exactly right. He's terrible. He's like 0-7 or 0-9 or something like that. But Kansas City is primed. Mahomes got up there and literally told the media that it's not about money to him. It's about winning. And it's about him taking the right amount of money so he can keep great players around him. He said these words. That is the best thing the Chiefs fans, GMs could have ever heard. He said it's about legacy for him. He's already made plenty of money. He said it. So I'm putting this out there for you guys right now. I'm telling you guys that the Kansas City Chiefs will be good. Not good. They will be on top of the NFL until Mahomes decides to not be. Now, when Andy Reid retires, because Andy Reid will retire before Mahomes is done. When Andy Reid retires, there's going to be a little shift there, probably. But if Mahomes keeps this mindset, because this is the same mindset that Brady had, that Manning had, this is why they were good all the time, because they didn't take all the money. They kept good players around them and didn't take all the money. And Mahomes has the same mindset. Guys, make no mistake, there is no team in a better spot than the Kansas City Chiefs. None. And it's not close. Kansas City doesn't have to have elite weapons besides Travis Kelce because they have Mahomes and Reed. Kansas City doesn't have to have an elite defense because they have Mahomes and Reed. So until there's a money problem, which obviously there's not, and they basically got a whole defense for Tyreek Hill on the trade. So until there's a money issue, the Kansas City Chiefs will be good. In fact, they'll not only be good, they'll be top 2 in the AFC and probably top 3 in the NFL every year, every single year, until they change, until something changes there with money. And that's the one thing that separates the great, elite, all-time quarterbacks from the guys that were good that had potential, is the great elite ones understand that it's a team game and they don't take all the money. And you can go back and look at this. You go back and look back all these different quarterbacks. They didn't take all the money. They made sure there was good players around them. They made sure they had a good offensive line. They know that other guys got to get paid too if you want to win. And Mahomes know this. He's already the best player and he knows the system. Oh yeah, lay the Chiefs to win the division, sure. Yeah, without a doubt. Their division, they'll dominate their division forever, probably. They've only lost 3 games in division since Mahomes has been there, since he's been the starter. Only 3 losses. So, yeah, there's no doubt they'll win their division. Barring an injury. Obviously, if he gets hurt, they could lose it. But, yeah, Mahomes, his 3 losses, and none of them are to Denver. I think he has 1 to the Chargers and 2 to the Raiders, or flip-flop of that. And one of the losses he had was right after he had his first kid. It was like 2 days after, and he lost that game, which makes sense. He's probably not thinking so much about football. And let's not forget, guys, when you have a quarterback that is this dedicated to winning, and a coach that's an all-time great, he's easily, if he wins one more Super Bowl, he'll be on the Mount Rushmore of coaches. One more Super Bowl, shoe in for the Mount Rushmore of head coaches. A lot of people have him there now, which is very valid, but he wins one more Super Bowl, which is very likely in the next 2-3 years. He's on the Mount Rushmore. You got a quarterback that's probably going to go down top 3 all time. Coach, going to go down top 3 all time. And a tight end that's probably going to go down top 3 all time. You have these 3 players and coach, or 2 players and coach together right now. And the Kansas City Chiefs know, probably the rest of the NFL knows, that the defense is going to be really good this year too. That's the thing that people are missing on the Chiefs as well. This defense, they had all those rookies play last year. All these guys are cheap and they're coming back. That whole secondary, the linebacking core, and the D lineman. You guys, Karlaftis is probably going to be a 10 plus sack guy this year. All right, they drafted another DN. All right, obviously you have Chris Jones. You have Willie Gay and Nick Bolton. Nick Bolton is one of the best linebackers in the NFL, and he will be recognized as that this year probably. And then in the secondary, you have an elite player in Snead, and then 3 really young guys that are really good. Make no mistake, guys, the Chiefs' defense will be one of the better defenses in the NFL this year. Mark my words that they are going to be surprisingly better than people want them to be. They were pretty good last year. People just didn't give them the credit. The problem with the Chiefs' defense that gets overlooked is that the Chiefs' offense usually scores really fast. So the defense has a lot of time on the field. And so they get yardage on them a lot of times. But the Chiefs won a lot of games last year, so the defense wasn't giving up too many points. Now, people will point to the big kind of anomaly games, the Houston game, and the very anomalous games. But if you look at the games that the top tier matchups, the Bengals, the Bills, those games weren't that high scoring. So So I get that maybe they take some days off, and which is kind of crazy to think. But when you have Mahomes up back there, you can take a little bit off. But I think this year you'll see the emergence of this elite defense that's going to go with this elite offense. Um, the Chiefs have a brutal schedule, by the way, absolutely brutal, and no one on their schedule is wanting to face them. No one. None of those guys want to face the Chiefs. Even the Bengals that like to talk crap, they don't want to face the Chiefs either because it's likely a loss, and they don't want to eat that. You only have 17 tries. That's it, 17 tries. You got to win at least 10 to get in the playoffs, usually. In the AFC this year, it's probably going to be 11 because there's a lot of good teams. In the NFC, it's probably 10, maybe even 9. But it's just too brutal. AFC is way too brutal. The quarterbacks are too good. In fact, there's some teams that are flying under the radar in the AFC, like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's not forget, Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season. Never, 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 ever, ever as a head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Had a losing season. He did it last year after a brutal start with a rookie quarterback. Didn't have a losing season. Watch out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That defense is still there. They've got some more skill position players, and now they got a quarterback that looks like he's ascending. That division may not be so sewed up by Cincinnati and Baltimore. Pittsburgh's are still a problem, and we don't know what the Browns will be. So there's a lot of question marks with a lot of really good teams in the AFC side. I feel like the NFC side is pretty locked in. I feel like there's 3 teams that are better than everyone else, and then 2 other teams that are pretty good. So, you got the Eagles are obviously the Eagles and the 49ers are kind of the, bar, and then the Cowboys are kind of right under them. And then, you got Minnesota and you got the Giants that seem to have ascended, and now Detroit is an issue. So again, guys, the AFC is far dominant to the NFC as of right now. That changes, that fluctuates. But the AFC has all the quarterbacks pretty much, so that usually is the winning situation. So let's jump back to the pick of the day. We're going Washington Nationals in the Major League Baseball, plus 0.5 runs for the first 5 innings. We are riding with Patrick Corbin. Let's get him, Patrick. Anyways, guys, thank you for your time. This is Jacob from What'd You This. I got to go do my real job. I have an interview today to get a day job, so I don't have to work nights no more. That will be really cool. Let's see what happens there. Maybe I can get it. I don't know. We'll see. You guys have a great day. This is Jacob from What'd You This.